Reading books like this changed everything. So before, I would just read a comic book, look at it very quickly. I would spend 3 seconds per page. And now, because I'm studying comics to make my own comic, I read more intentionally. Welcome everyone to the second episode of the Reading Slump. I talk about comic books, mangas and graphic novels, and I try to take out of these comics and these beautiful books something to put onto my own comic book. So last month I talked to you about this manga that it's called Irayasumi by Keigo Shinzo. This is a slice of life manga that it was my first manga that I actually started to analyze. So how do I analyze a manga or a comic book, in case you're wondering, in case that's the reason you're listening to this podcast? So the first thing I do, I just focus on the first chapter. I don't analyze the entire book. I just analyze the first chapter just to see how are they presenting as their character. And that's what I did. I just looked at the first 10 or I think it's 30 pages, the first chapter. And I saw how was it that they were presenting the character. And I want to read you my notes. So my notes are... So the book starts with a photograph of him, Hiroto, and his cousin. It's like a way to stop in time. It starts with a photograph of them both. Like when you open the first page, he says, "Come on, hurry up already. Just a little to the left." And you realize they're taking a picture. This is the first page. And I was like, okay, this page is a moment only. I always had this feeling or this thought that each page of a comic, or whenever I want to make a page of a comic, that a lot of things have to be happening. But no, in this comic at least, a moment is happening. You have 2 frames, her and him, both getting ready to take the picture, and that is it. And there's a lot of speech bubbles, but they're all about, yeah, okay, I'm starting the timer, beep, 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 beep. That's all you see in the first page. So quite simple, low takes. And then on the second page, so before actually starting the first chapter, the second page is a double page, like a gigantic page, with them both in front of their house. So right now he's showing us where we are. Where is this story taking place? What is this story about? It's about this boy and this girl and this house. So that was enlightening. It means that when I start my comic, I can just start with showing everyone what is my book about and where they are. I know that my comic book is about a fairy and a girl, a normal sized girl. So those were the ones I drew first. And then a couple of pages later, I also wrote, shows his old life, shows his problem right away. Yes, it shows his problem right away. So basically, the problem of Hiroto is that he hasn't fallen in love with anyone yet. Not that he cannot fall in love, but it hasn't happened. So that's the first problem, and it appears like on the 3rd or 4th page. And it shows the theme of the story right early on as well. And the theme of the story is, are you happy right now? Like when they are telling us about the character, I was like, okay, let's see if I can find the theme and if I can find the flaw of the character, and how early can I find the theme and the flaw. And so first we found the flaw. He has trouble with women, he has trouble talking to them, and he has trouble falling in love. It never happened to him before. That's the flaw. And after that, his grandmother, his landed grandmother, asks him, are you happy right now? That's a very direct question. And I think that's the theme of the story, because the story is always trying to show you how they can be happy right now, right this moment, and not in the future. So I stopped right there after finding the theme and the problem of the character and picked one page that I really loved. Sorry for my phone. I picked one page that I really loved, which is this one. And in this page, basically, you cannot see, because for our audio listeners, basically what happens in the page that I'm showing is that you see Hiroto in the page, but he's not inside the squares. It's like a drawing of him naturally, and then the squares are behind him. It's like he's going out of the squares. I don't know how to explain it actually. But what I did, that's the important part, is I looked at this page and realized, why do I like it? I like it because they show us about him and what he likes, almost like a mood board, because in all the other frames of this page you have the food that he's eating and the people that he can talk to. And I did the same on my comic. So I took this page and I literally copied the skeleton of it. So if in Hirayasumi you have Hiroto walking down the street and he's going out of the frames, in my comic I did my fairy flying down the aka street, I'd say forest, and she's also going out of the squares. And you see her first plan. And on all the other panels I decided to draw. In one panel I drew some blueberry flowers, and in another panel I drew a big gigantic toe of a foot to let us know that she's very tiny and someone is around. So I didn't give any thought to this page, I just drew it because I thought it looked cute and fun to draw, and I was just having fun in my couch doing this, and I think that's the point of drawing. And then for my second page of my comic, I drew a girl picking up flowers from the nature, and her head is slightly also coming out of a square of a frame of comic. I really love this kind of dynamic compositions. Okay, this is it. I will now talk about the books I read this month that I want to recommend you, the comic books. I cannot talk about all of them because there are too many, but give me a moment and I'll pick them up. I think the first book I have to talk about is the second volume of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. I talked about this book in the last episode, exactly 1 month ago. Here it is. So, as you know, if you don't know, I'm telling you, I went to London last month, in the end of the month, with my boyfriend Thomas and his mom Dora. And so we went, and I found in one comic book shop, I found many books and many amazing bookshops. It was an amazing trip. I also drank a lot of matcha, which is, oh, it was so nice. And I bought so much stationery. It was amazing. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. But basically I found this second volume of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. And the second volume is not actually a book. It's a magazine. I don't want to give you spoilers because, you know, but basically this is a crime story. So there's a criminal. And in the second book, the criminal is discovered like right away. And I'm like, what will the story be about then? And I think that's my problem with Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. The theme of this story, I don't get, but maybe I just have to wait. And also, even though I don't understand why I don't get the theme, I really want to keep reading. And I think I want to keep reading because it is coming out as a magazine. And this makes me think that maybe when I launch my comic book I could do it as the witch comic books and as this one, like a magazine per month or a magazine per week. It really makes you loyal to it because you want to know more. That would be a good move. Thomas says that's not a good move because then when you want to store it in your shelf, it looks ugly. But well, then I can just make a book version of it, right? I don't know, let me know what you think. Okay, second book I want to talk about, it's a comic book. And you maybe know about this comic book already. Everyone knows about this comic book already. I read it many years ago, but I read it again the other day. I found it in London and I thought, yep, I have to take it home. And it is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki, which is the writer. She also wrote this one Summer. And the illustrator is Rosemary Valero O'Connell. I saw a couple of interviews with Rosemary, and she also makes a lot of covers and artwork for DC Comics. Wow, what? And she also did one cover for Steven Universe comic book. She does pretty cool things. So I picked up this book in one afternoon here in my studio. When I got to my studio and I was really overwhelmed with what to do, because now that I work as a full-time artist, I often come to my studio and I'm like, well, okay, what should I do today? I'm overwhelmed. Should I start working on my iPad? Should I build my website? Should I draw something? Should I make an animation? What should I do? And I was so overwhelmed that I started scrolling, because that's usually what I do when I don't know what to do. And then I remembered, wait, I could work for my comic book. That's always a good thing, but I was not in the mood. And so I thought I could study a comic book then, because I have that YouTube video project going on, the reading slump. So I could work on that. That's work, even though it's reading. It's not slacking off. So I grabbed this book, I sit on my bed that I have on my studio, and I felt like a teenager all over again. It's like I went back in time 15 years and I was in my teenage room and I had not a care in the world. This book, Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, it got me hooked so quickly, this book, because it opens up and you see a prom, a teenage prom, and there's this narrator box and it says, Dear Anna Weiss. And then in the second frame you see this girl, my name is Freddie Riley. And this is the first page. Again, only 2 frames, a moment is happening, and then we move on. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I want to turn the page already. And she says, I have been reading your column for 4 years. My mom reads it too. I'm not sure what you need to know about a person to give them advice. So basically this is one of those books where the narrator is the main character, and parallel to the story, she's also narrating what's going on. Throughout the entire book, you see her exchanging or writing emails to this lady, and eventually the lady writes her back. If the person you're with makes you be a bad friend to your friends, then maybe something's wrong. They're launching a movie of this book. They just finished filming it and they started production, I think. So, and I saw a video of it on YouTube, a short video, and both main characters look like they were very well picked, and Mariko Tamaki, I think, was involved in everything. So yes. Okay, the second book I want to talk about is Delightful I only have 2 books here. I have 3, but I only have 2 with me right now because the first one I lended it to one of my students from the youth art studio. I have to tell you, lending books to kids is not a good idea if you cherish your books because they return crazy. I don't know what they do with the books. Do they go run around with them in the village? I don't know. But yeah, it's also a good excuse. Maybe in some years, if I keep buying books double for me because they ruin them, then I can open a library only with comic books. That would be cool. Okay, so Light Fall was recommended by me. No, was recommended to me by a comic book shop worker here in Iceland, in Reykjavik. And he said, you can really tell that these comic books were made by storyboarders and screenwriters because of the flow of the panels. And that got my attention. So one of the books he recommended was Light Fall, which is the story about Bea, which is this girl. And what's the name of her colleague? I'm the worst with the names. I'm the worst. Cat. Bea and Cat. So Bea is this little girl, a teenage girl, which is afraid of anything and everything that's dangerous, most like all normal people. And they go together on this adventure. And it's very fun because she's kind of an introvert gal and he's very extroverted. He's always very jolly and upbeat. He's always very positive about everything and all the outcomes. And she's not. She's the other kind of person. Do you like to go on adventures? Do you like medieval settings? Do you like a female protagonist which is also vulnerable and brave and introverted? You will like to spend time with this book. And I'm realizing that most of my books are very childish, and I'm sorry. So maybe I will recommend you a serious book now. I will recommend Portrait of a Body by Julie Del Porte. This book is really interesting. I don't know if I could call it a comic book. I think this is a graphic novel. So picture a diary, and now imagine that diary is written only on the left page, and in every page to the right there's a drawing. In Portrait of a Body, we read the story of a woman who decided to become a lesbian late in her life. Whatever she's drawing has nothing to do with what she's writing. But isn't she writing about her personal experiences? And aren't these drawings personal enough to be in her sketchbook? Isn't this very honest? Yeah, she has this very pretty drawing. I don't know if this is in Iceland, but it looks amazing. Like the mountains back there, the way she draws the mountains and everything, it's very inspiring. She uses lots of blues and purples. When I look at these drawings from other people and they just plainly use purple, there's no purple mountains, and it looks like I would like my drawings to look, I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't be following all the rules. I should be breaking more rules, like Julie Del Porte is breaking. So yeah, this book was recommended to me by Margarita. I have classes with her every Saturday. She has a Patreon, and I will leave it down in the description if you want to see. Okay, good people of the internet, I was very excited recording this. I talked so loud and so fast. Oops. I really wanted to launch this the same day as I did in January, which was the 18th. So today, 18th of February, this will be launched. This was just recorded today. So pardon me for any mistakes or if this is too long and too boring. But the thing is, better be done and imperfect than not do it at all, right? And I will see you in March. Bye.